tukayikuru mukuruso omwana tebakusoma tibanya wali tibenya nice. When we are unique agaricha lete chapa na chuba chitwara hasara.
Some officials in the OPM are benefiting from this conflict.
The people seen clamoring for land are heavily sponsored.
The office of the Prime Minister created its own government.
We are struggling to protect government land from thieves.
The government is saying you are the encroachers, you are the thieves who want to steal government land.
So that we have a genuine title.
On top of our title, we place another title.
The kingdom was not consulted or involved.
So stop construction now.
Home to over 30,000 refugees, Kyangwali refugee settlement camp is located in Kikuube District, southwest of Uganda, a land that hosts local communities and refugees. Office of the Prime Minister is supported by several organizations to cater for the welfare of these people. This is the land that was given to government by the Omukam of Bunyoro, Satito Winyigafabusa in 1960 to host refugees and other people. The land was to be occupied for 49 years and then vacated for the kingdom's own use. The land was 13,000 hectares, but if converted to square miles, the figure is 50.2. The lease expired in April 2009, but in 2013, the natives and those who possessed land titles or certificates of ownership on the same land were evicted. OPM is in the spotlight for the suffering of host communities. Some with certificates of ownership accepted to settle disgruntled natives on their land for shelter, but in the end, all are suffering under the watch of OPM officials allegedly gaining from the stampede. Who evicted them? Why and how are the queries we want to put to rest.
Because really it's in our interest as a country to have those lands.
In the end, the local people who are also subjects of the king are the ones suffering.
We now head to Kyangwali to seek answers to the alleged eviction that left thousands homeless, but we are blocked from accessing the camp and told to seek clearance from the OPM in Kampala. In the process, my colleague is arrested and detained at Kasonga police station. He is then ordered to delete videos recorded from his phone. This was commanded by an officer whom we managed to learn was the officer in charge of Kasonga police station.
Kola mulimu gwa mawulire beere Kampala okole mulimu bino bintu biveemu kubanga tojja kumalako nabyo bantu bangi babigezezzaako ne balima naffe abali mu security twakajja tunaba kumala obbanga naffe tujja kuvaawo tubireke tuli we Bukinda ba mu nsonga ze Bukinda
kandi agency news agency ya government oli mmotoka ya government kyonka police ya government ekuhakayina habo okuba you can easily expose akajunde akakozereki deroteni wanuze ziliyo.
In 1998, 11 years before the expiry of the lease, the United Nations High Commission for Refugees UNHCR requested government of Uganda to survey the land before bringing in the new refugees from DRC. UNHCR contracted Makerere University to conduct the survey. The survey showed that refugee settlement had 91 square kilometers. Host communities in Bukinda had 36 square kilometers, while Katikara community had 7.36 square kilometers. The intention was to have clear boundaries between the refugees and the indigenous residents to avoid conflict. Government has distanced itself from being part of the 1998 survey.
UNHCR does not have land in Uganda. It cannot sponsor a survey. Survey is done by Ministry of Lands And since this is land under ULC, we are only users and they are custodians of that land.
I surveyed that land, and it came up immediately after surveying it. It was 93 square miles. Those 93 square miles had included the local people in it, and I had to cut off 2 plots occupied by the local people, and I left a big portion for the refugees, which was basically vacant and meant to be used by the refugees. The locals were at the Katikala village, and I cut off Katikala village. I can't remember how many square miles I cut off, but I also cut off land at Buchinda, which was also occupied by local people, and there are also a sizable number of square miles. Then I left a very big chunk in the middle, which was for the refugees.
However, the president's letter written in 2016 states that the natives and refugees lived in peace until 1998, when the Prime Minister's office came to fix the boundaries of settlement and communities. After the expiry of the lease, the land was not reclaimed by Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom. We sought to know from Bunyoro Kingdom why this was the case.
Right from the time of eviction, the kingdom has been engaging government, and indeed government has sent various delegations to come and investigate this matter and get a solution.
On 17th September 2013, Patrick Amama Mbabazi, who was the then Secretary General of the NRM, instructed for a new survey to open all boundaries to re-establish the real size of the land. The letter states, while the survey was ongoing, Ugandan nationals displaced from their land should be returned, and this was implemented. 26th September 2013, Minister for Disaster, Preparedness and Refugees, Engineer Hilary Onek, ordered for verification of bona fide occupants of Bukinda. This followed the constitution of an 11-member committee to verify the exercise in a letter dated 27th September 2013 issued by Minister Onek. The committee was headed by Major General Julius Oketa, now deceased, as the chairperson, Jigo Titus, Amos Kiria, and David Mugenyi from the OPM, Chief Administrative Officer Hoima, District Police Commander Kyangwali, Chairperson LC3 Kyangwali, Presidential Advisor on Refugees and Religious Affairs, Reverend Father Rosemary Chizito, ISO and ESO representatives, and those from Ministries of Lands and Internal Affairs. The committee was given 10 terms of reference, among which include verify and ascertain relocation of refugees from Bukinda, verify evaluation of Bukinda, identify returnees and determine deserving ones. As the implementation of the terms of reference continued, a resurvey and subdivision of boundaries was conducted in Bukinda. This was not part of the terms of reference.
Let us walk by talk. That Onek directed that if you do the resurvey and subdivision, which is not part of his reference, as of 27th September 2013, should be null and void.
The outcome of General Julius Oketa's committee gave birth to new boundaries, contrary to the initial survey of 1998. Locals are not in agreement with the new survey.
That survey was not authorized by government. We don't know it. We don't know who did it and for what purpose.
The fact was the man in the Prime Minister's office whom I delivered the deed plans to myself in 1998. Now, this time, Butaya and Bafaki were fronting the position of inquiry of Bamugemerire that survey never happened. And when I presented, and Butaya was also in there, he came out and withdrew his statement.
So I think going forward, let the country know that Kyangwali was never surveyed by government until 2013.
The instruction to survey was issued to us by the Ministry of Land. The processing and the cross-checking of the survey results was done by the Ministry of Land, and the data is in the database of the Ministry of Lands, confirming that there is a portion for the refugees, there is a portion for the locals at Buchinda, and there is a portion for the locals at Katkara.
Bafaki and others, we are not part of the composition of the team, but he only employed himself to see how he can influence the outcome of the report.
The issue of Bafachi, yes, Bafachi will feature in these issues of land because we are struggling to protect government land from thieves.
But I'm aware of so many other staff in the OPM who know what is going on. And if investigated, they'll go to Ruvira, I can tell you that.
Over 60,000 residents were evicted by the army and police in Bukinda Parish to secure land for hosting refugees on 20th August 2013. The affected families demanded for an independent investigation into the evictions, crimes against humanity, and torture allegedly by security agencies and officials from the OPM.
The people seen clamoring for land are heavily sponsored to come and lodge at the office of the RDC, forge stories of eviction, suffering, hunger, etc.
Mkono kwa harmuringa nyine barahaza zamarwaro ziriya nyoba kargo bantaho n'amasasi bantaho kunyita UPDF kwatanise na police na arwara kumara imyaka nk'eshatu bantemo umutugo bagumaraho bantemo umugongwe mbazo bazutwa mukono bagutwa emihoro yonna mugireba.
Meanwhile, they are being transported. These people who are said are displaced are transported every morning by vehicles from these land grabbers.
Babanza kwita bakaija misana babagamba tukwenda kuba ubukonyezi bwa sente n'ebyokulya obahaga mitwale 5 nibongero 0 niboleka zire ebini boleka bamuhere mitwara 5 miliyoni 5 nuko bakora bati n'ebyokulya bwahikire kiro balete biroli abantu bakabahimba babitwara mu bitweke bikwahukana batipinga abantu ngabakutipinga musenyi abamu batweka maguru abandi bafu
urugogwa nkakoma wakuzara ahubwo kwa kantina okuzarira nkarara nzeire mukasheshe nje yanje bagishenye bagitera bagitahitaka banteka mu motoka bantwara hegomborora umuyaga gukantera ama umukazi kubazere tategwa mbeho kategwa mbeho kabandi hikufa kurugogwa kuzara nagamba wewe kandekeho ndebe.
So you can imagine it beats my understanding when someone says these people are just grabbers when they have been on that land as early as 1960s, even before the refugees have started coming in.
Nachibuka Rosemary alleges that security agencies caused the death of her husband.
Omusajja no yatusakiraga ntuliya tuli hayitaka lyaito bamuteraga nibamubinga hayitaka ayimukeho agende 2013 omusajja bamwita hanyuma yo kumwita kafasahi 10 zerwe baje baitu zikaja kubasa hemu bamazire kumuzika nkembwa tukaba twine ebintu bakumuzikira musanduko baitu kitasoboke abana baba munagisa toyikaraho ndi mufakate saha zino abana aba nibabona ndiyaho nimbona enjura netuteraho musana nigututera kitwine cyokulya nkokundora anti.
The families sued government, and on 27th April 2015, Justice Simon Byabakama, who was the then Masindi resident judge, ordered the boundaries of the contested land to be resurveyed to ascertain whether the land claimed by the evicted families was within the resettlement scheme. A joint survey report was submitted to court, which is yet to rule on the matter. In his letter, dated 3rd February 2016, President Museveni wrote to the then Prime Minister, Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda, that if the people's version is correct, they should be compensated for the damage done to them by officials from the Prime Minister's office. The President acknowledged receiving contradictory versions of the land in dispute and directed his lawyer Chichoncho to summarize the Oketa report. Locals maintain that OPM officials forcefully enforced the evictions, where houses were burnt and property damaged, and wrong people resettled on the contested land.
I never ministers, I even
bona tihari omwanya ogwa government ogutarimo mwebembezi president wowe nkakaragira ekyaremesize ngu tugaruko mu bibanja byitu ogwo muntu weno hashana ni ruhanga sebo nimbashaba mutuhikize obwo butumwa butwabahereza.
Now, what if what he was being told was wrong? What do you do? So I think those 2016 letter, we have done our best to implement as guided.
The stressed and homeless populace scampered for safety at the sub-county headquarters. Others set up temporary makeshift structures under trees, while over 2,000 are camped at the Kikuube RDC's office.
yongera kutubasiza bitakubasa yongera kutugarura amataka gaitu nyakusinga herezo mwebembezi w'ihanga kutugarura amataka gaitu reka tuyongere kuramya no kweshengereza ko ni warahanga otkorre byokorra bukunda ishemuka mu witu Yesu tugere nazirwe hano mana rwakwikiri doroko bana doroko benga nk'abana batayi n'ababyayi mana tugere babaza abana bacu bari kubona abonera twatwine bibanja byetu bakatwiya mu bibanja byetu tukabanabona tubuziraho kuteka abana twana turi kubona abona ngira kuduterera mu kibiranke mbuzi twabere tekwera abanyarwanda kutwabona abona amutezi wakaru
Kikuube is a government within another government. The office of the Prime Minister created its own government within the existing government under the leadership of Hiralonek and of course and his cohorts, the Bafacha and Kebirungi and other.
Due to evictions, the abandoned land is now a new home for refugees. Construction and farming is taking place despite halting any activity. This is the same allegation Prime Minister Robin Anabanja was well informed about when she visited Kyangwali settlement camp on a fact-finding mission to establish the cause of the unresolved land crisis.
Where is the hurry when we still have other big chunks of land elsewhere? You are aware this land is under dispute. True or false? And they said that the status quo remains as we settle this case. Are you not aware? Where is your hurry? Couldn't you put these people in other pieces of land which are empty as we wait to hear the other side of the coin? The president gives a directive and you do otherwise. For how long will you keep the president? The president's directive is a president's directive. So stop construction now.
Minister for Refugees and Disaster Preparedness, Hilary Onek, states that Kikuube leaders, including the RDC, are fueling the matter to blackmail his ministry.
Because really it's in our interest as a country to have those lands for different strategic purposes. Sometimes we may need to put there industrial parks, we need to put for development purposes, we reserve them for that. And at the moment, some of those lands, for example, the one in Kyangwali, we are certain refugees who have come from the neighboring Congo.
Each an acre in Uchinda apparently is at 300,000. If you divide times 640, which is a square mile, it goes to 1.9 million. So if you multiply by the 15 square miles, which translates into 36 square kilometers, you find these people, on average, every season, they walk away with 2.8 billion. Times 2 seasons, that is equivalent to 5.7 billions.
Hata abana b'abakongo nibahinga mu itaka ryito mu bibanje bitwaguzire nibashoma uhurire sebo nibararo mu maju marungi.
The RDC is also sympathetic with them That is a fact.
But as a leader, as a representative of the president, how can I see voters coming for justice? Then I be the one to chase them away. Chasing them away with tear gas, just as the Honourable Minister directed me on phone, is not the solution.
The RDC Kikuube is one of their collaborator of these land grabbers, transporting them there so that they are now camped as if they were really genuine people who have been chased away from their land.
Some of these guys are 70 years old, 80 years old. They even saw you their G taxes. They used to pay so many years ago, even before the coming of the NRM government. And they are paying from that very land where they were evicted from.
These people have been living in camps since 2013, despite President Yoweri Museveni's directive to conclude the matter. On 15th March 2018, Minister for Bunyoro Affairs, Security and Kikuube District officials held a meeting with former Prime Minister Dr. Rwakana Rugunda and officials from the President's office and agreed to give the evicted persons land for settlement. Government allocated 8 square miles to the displaced people.
You have seen the people who were settled. Each has a parcel. Families who, there are people who had like 3 wives. Actually, someone had 6 wives. We say, instead of giving you as a single household, every wife of yours is given an independent land.
Bateeka mu mwanya gubateremu bampa akashaka kake kati kandi nkaba nyine itaka ryanje nk'omuntu abana banje bakaba barashoma konka ku rugo bwe bakareka kushoma baberaho twagamba niwe bale wampitaka kataka kuwampa kuwakampa kandi batabani banje n'abahara banje yagamba bagende baze kweyiya babahonde emitwe bafe.
Who claim they are landless? They are not landless, some of them. We know it. They just shift from one place and we are now landless. They get more land here. Move like that. We know it.
The affected residents argue that the offered land in Cheya villages did not favor agriculture, their main livelihood. We could not independently verify this allegation since we were denied access to go to the settlement camp.
We want to go and physically look at the area. If you could be guided by you people to take pictures, that is all.
Not any opium, I'm opium, but I can't allow.
However, we talked to Thes Taebwa, a director at Cheya Valley Farm Enterprises, over the same matter.
The land that is not favorable for agriculture is our land, the Cheya Valley Farm. Because where they put these people, it is neither favorable for perennial or seasonal crop. It is local, there are no hospitals.
UBC investigation team has learned that the resettlement was partly done on Fred Mbambali's land, who already owned a title as solutions were being sought. Mbambali and 2 others are being accused of stealing government land.
The encroachers, meanwhile, partial off part of this land and made God land title. Like there's one here called Festus Akunobere. Mr. Festus Akunobere has acquired this large, about nearly 3,000-4,000 acres here for himself. And then these are all within the settlement, within the government land. Another person here, Austin Muezi, also acquired large, long chunk of land here. And then here, another person, Fred Mbambali. These are the principal land grabbers who has acquired the land. They made fake land titles.
The government is saying you are the encroachers, you are the thieves who want to steal government land. You can't have land titles when government also has a land title.
That we have a genuine title. We have been in court with them. It has never been challenged. We have been on that land. We bought, and the contestation is not between us and the nationals. It is between us and the government.
Mbambali went to court through Mayanja and Arinaitwe advocates and solicitors, claiming that a large number of people from their traditional settlement in Bukinda and refugees were settled on his land. An interim order was issued to restrain any form of activity until the respondent's application is heard and disposed of.
Akwa itakari cyapa n'iryangira batarimo banga. Nkabanye no bushobozi bunanye bugaruka kubatera. Ahubwo nyine ko odanyine buri kimwe cyone ry'umateka nyuma. Konka kareba nashanga nimba ninza kusana na Hilary Oneki.
The land the encroachers are claiming to be theirs falls within above boundaries. Those boundaries, which is our boundaries, where we got the title.
First of all, it is sub judice for any person to begin trying to cancel title when the matter is in court. Moreover, a competent court like High Court of Uganda. So, but of course, they are mafias. They don't fear. They don't know their separation of powers.
When we are Oneki agarika leta cyapa nakiba kitwara hasaki. Kukira icyo nikisinga cyanjye nyo nindagakeye. Nindagahita keri. Kandi kindi tinkwenda abantu itakari yanjye gavumenti banondera kubata. Nyo tinkoze sitakari yante kubaza ibingiro yo koze natwe abantu
The elderly, women and children are among the affected residents camped at Kikuube RDC's office, living a miserable life. These people made a formal complaint to Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom after being forcefully evicted on orders of OPM.
And in so doing, the kingdom has started engaging various organs of government in order to see how to resolve this matter. And the negotiations are ongoing well, but the final outcome we would wish to see is how this matter is resolved amicably, so that government has a place where it can host the refugees. Also the local communities are able to live in peace, in harmony, so that they are productive.
Kikuube RDC blamed the OPM officials for issuing unrealistic orders that instead caused more chaos and suffering of innocent women and children.
They are fed and protected by forces who think such a strategy can arm twist government to whatever their objectives are.
I saw the Honorable Minister saying these people are fed well. These people go hungry. These people go hungry for 3-4 days. These people are the pregnant women who came when they are pregnant are delivering from my compound premises.
Nobody has evicted them, but they are playing that game of eviction. Just simply to mislead government, to think that people are evicted and therefore government must act and where to place them. Again, they are referring back to the same government land.
There are no hospitals. They are trying now to make accountability of the 6 billion that Hilary Oneki talked that was appropriated to relocate to refugees. Of course, that was stomached by the powers.
In April 2019, Cabinet approved 6.2 billion shillings for resettling these people in the land that we have ceded off. But this project has not taken off because of the sabotage from some leaders in the area who threaten development partners and contractors with violence.
Some OPM officials connived and planted crops on the contested land and fraudulently grabbed the said land from locals neighboring the Kyangwali refugee settlement area. The UPDF was also given part of the land.
Honorable Minister Oneki alipangisa, mukuru bafake alipangisa, Apollo Kazunga alipangisa, Jole Kibirunga alipangisa, Kamanda Antogo, hamu n'abandi nkababwenje n'abandi.
Akati bebalima ngabaguza ofisi yo. Chovoraba bali mukulwana tuleme kumala ebizibu by'ettaka bo baagala buli kaseera kubanga beeguze emmere n'abantu baffe babonaabona nga babonaabona tekujja kukirizibwa.
It might take time to solve the Bukinda land evictions, but what is clear is the 1998 survey was conducted by the Prime Minister's office to fix the boundaries of settlement and communities. Conducting a resurvey and subdivision means that there was a survey. The 2013 resurvey and subdivision exercise is null and void since it was not part of the terms of reference given to Major General Julius Oketa. The officials who resurveyed land to create the new boundaries include Charles Bafachi and Amos Kiria. The OPM is said to be planting crops on the contested land, but we could not independently verify this allegation. The President's directive to resettle locals was partly implemented, though the indigenous people were locked out. Government maintains that they have a land title for the land given to them by the kingdom. I contacted the kingdom to respond to this statement.
Of particular concern to the kingdom is that when government was processing the title for the land in question, the kingdom was not consulted or involved, yet the kingdom is the landlord. So these are some of the issues that we intend to discuss with government to ensure there is harmonious agreement.
Reference to the letter written by Omuka Masati Towinyi leasing the land and the 1998 survey and recommendations in the late General Oketa's report should be made because therein is a solution to end the suffering of these Ugandans.
Mukayikuru mukuru so mwana tunakusoma